This week we are going to focus a bit more on gross motor skills. So developing on from last week where you were singing and trying to incorporate action rhymes, so body movements within that, we're going to look a bit more at developing gross motor skills. So gross motor skills are whole body movements or moving larger amounts of the body. For instance, throwing and catching would be gross motor skills. Jumping, hopping, skipping, walking is a gross motor skill, as opposed to fine motor skills, which are using our fingers. So trying to pick things up just with our fingers, developing that into picking objects up with something else. So maybe child's tweezers and things like that, using pegs. They are examples of developing fine motor skills. So with our gross motor skills that we're going to focus on this week, we're going to continue with action rhymes and also developing it into books that we read. So you might have books at home that you could, as well as reading, encourage and incorporate gross motor movement. So this is a book that we use when we're at venues, and I tend to do this with the children at the end of the group, and they usually fall about laughing at me, which is my intention, to completely engage them, have fun and act out this book with gross motor movements. Unfortunately, I can't do that on video, but I can just show you this book, and you could use the words from this to carry it out at home, moving about as you would, as I would, if I was doing this in a venue with the children. The Foot Book. Dr. Seuss's wacky book of opposites. The Foot Book. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right. And I would march around the room making huge steps. This would usually encourage all the children to stop and watch what I was doing. Feet in the day, feet in the night. Wet foot, dry foot, high foot, low foot. And great big movements, so getting up really high, going down really low. Back foot, front foot. Feet, feet, feet. How many different feet you meet? Slow feet. Quick feet. And then I'd be running around really tiny steps really quickly. Well feet. Sick feet. Up feet, again, gross movement, as big as you can. Down feet. Here come clown feet. Small feet. Point to their feet. Big feet. Here come pig feet. His feet, her feet. Fuzzy fur feet. In the house and on the street. How many different feet you meet? So just one example of where you can make a book become something much bigger than just reading and sitting with each other and looking at the pictures, which is also brilliant, but just to vary it, you can completely change it by adding in huge movements, little movements, just to try and visualise the meanings of each opposites on each page. But you've probably got lots of books at home that you could do something similar with and just get moving around. So gross motor movement development is not just about giving them more and more control over their bodies, but it's also a really good way of getting exercise. And I know that some of you may have more active children than others, so go with it. Whatever their gross motor movement is that they enjoy, try to build on that with a song, building into a story. You can make up stories. It's endless, the possibilities. Just get creative and have fun. And feedback next week, how you got on, any great ideas that developed out of what you were doing. Also continue with the action rhymes, which is a really fun way of doing gross motor movement. Make up some of your own, and if you're happy to share them with us, that would be brilliant. But also as well, whilst you're looking at hands and feet, maybe possibly in a bit more focus on those, do some creative activities with those, so drawing around your feet and then colouring them in. Could be chalks on the floor outside, painting, printing hands and feet into Play-Doh. If you go to the Family Learning York page on Facebook, there's a great video on there for a recipe and a song to sing whilst you're making Play-Doh. Really simple recipe, you just need flour, salt, warm water and oil, and food colouring if you want to make different colours. It's really quick, really easy, and it is something that we would do in venues together as a little finishing off activity, just to show you how easy it is to make your own Play-Doh. You don't need to be spending a fortune, and kids love it, and kids should be starting to learn to get messy, and real touchy-feely is great. So I will see you in the Zoom and feedback to us how you got on.